Happy Friday, guys. Today is Friday, April 10th, 2020, and today we are going to review what we've learned about 3D shapes. So let's read that together. I will review what we have learned about 3D shapes. So we are going to go back to our Monday lesson. And on Monday, we were identifying 3D shapes. And I want to make a really important announcement on a correction. Ms. Castillo gave you some incorrect information, and I apologize for that. And it was about the cone and about the cylinder. The cone has one face, one flat face to the flat surfaces, has one vertice, which is up here at the top, but the edges, we know that the edges are what connects the face together with the other part of the shape. So there is one edge that connects the face, the bottom face, the flat circle face to the rest of the shape up here. So that I said in my videos that there were 0 edges for the cone, and that's not correct. So I apologize for that, and it's something that I realized that I misspoke when I did this, and I didn't want to have to record the video all over again. I thought I would just make that correction with you guys. The other mistake that I made was when I told you that the cylinder had 0 edges. Well, we have 2 faces, one on top and one on bottom, and those 2 connect to the edges. This is an edge here. This is another edge that connects the flat circle face to the rest of the shape. So I wanted to make those corrections with you, for you before we moved on. So now that we made that correction, so let's talk about the sphere. And the sphere has 0 faces, 0 vertices, 0 edges. We talked about the face being a flat surface. We talked about the vertex or the vertices being the corners of our 3D shapes. And then we talked about the edges is where the faces meet. Let's move on to the cube. We talked about the cube and how it has 6 faces, 8 vertices, and 12 edges. And then we also talked about the cylinder. And that was a correction that I made earlier. There's 2 faces up here in the bottom, 0 vertices, 0 corners or points, but there are 2 edges. This is an edge that connects to the rest of the shape, and this bottom edge is what connects to the rest of the shape there. We also talked about the square pyramid, and that's where the square pyramid is here. And we talked about how it has 5 faces. And remember, we said it's a square pyramid because the base, the flat surface, is a square. And so it has 5 faces, 5 vertices, the corners, and it has 8 edges, these edges right here that connect the faces together. On Monday, after you watched the lesson and after you watched the videos that I provided for you, you are going on a 3D shape hunt in your home. And when I talked to you on Monday, I gave you some examples of different things I found in my home, like an orange for the sphere. I also talked to you about my dice as a cube, my cup, or the toilet paper for our cylinder, and then I have my cone back here. You are going to go on a 3D shape hunt and find some objects in your house that match these shapes. So I can't wait to see what you found. If you haven't sent me those pictures, no worries. Just at some point have mom or dad send me a picture of what you found. in your home. And remember, you were going to write them in your journal. You can draw them, label them with the name of the object, and then with the name of the 3D shape. Let's move on to what we worked on Monday. On Monday, you were to read and watch a video on Epic about 3D shapes, and then you were going to write about something that you learned. I'm going to share with you what I learned from the 3D shape book that we read in Epic. I'm going to read that to you now. I learned about rectangular prisms. They have 6 faces, 8 vertices, and 12 edges. An example of a rectangular prism is a tissue box. So I can't wait to hear what you learned about 3D shapes from either our video in Epic or our book in Epic, and some of you may have already sent that to me. So that was Tuesday. We're going to move on to what we talked about Wednesday. Wednesday, we worked on comparing and contrasting our 3D shapes. Remember, when we compare and contrast, that means that we're talking about what are things that are the same and what are some of the things that are different between our shapes. So, again here, remember that we had to make this correction here. And I'm going to make that with you now. That's one edge because this bottom flat face connects with the rest of the cone. And then over here, our cylinder, you've got this face, and these are the edges that connect to the middle part of our cylinder. So this should read 2. Okay, so we talked about some of the things that were same and different between the shapes. We talked about how before you can compare and contrast the shapes, you need to be able to describe the shapes with by their faces, vertices, and edges. So let's move on to your journal entry for Wednesday. So what you were going to do is you're going to look at these 2 pictures, the cube and the cylinder, and you're going to tell me how the objects are the same and how the objects are different. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that with you here. So as I'm looking at the cube and the cylinder, I'm thinking about the faces, and I'm thinking about the vertices, and I'm also thinking about the edges. How are the objects the same? If I look at these 2 shapes, I know that a cube has flat surface, and so does a cylinder. Although this portion is curved, the bottom and top faces are flat. So I could say the cube and cylinder both have flat surfaces. That's how they're the same. Okay, now, how are the objects different? Well, I know that a cube has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces, and that a cylinder has 1, 2 faces. So that's how they are different, or one way they are different. I'm going to move that up. A cube has 2 faces, and a cylinder has, not 2 back here, 6 faces, and a cylinder has 2 faces. So those are some things that I found as I compared the cube and the cylinder. They're the same in that they both have some flat surfaces. So you would be able to stack these. And then they're different in that a cube has 6 faces and a cylinder has 2 faces. Let's move on to Thursday. Thursday was a Who Am I riddle. And so I am interested to see if you got these. Let's read the first one. I am a 3D solid. I have 2 faces. I have 0 vertices. And then this would say 2 edges. I can stack on top of each other. Who am I? I have 2 faces. I don't have any vertices, any corners. And I have 2 edges. I can go back to my chart. Two faces, 0 vertices, 2 edges. That would be a cylinder. Oops. Oh goodness. We'll get it here. See what a cylinder. Let's move on to the next one. I am a 3D solid. I have 6 faces. I have 8 vertices. I have 12 edges. I can stack on top of other shapes. If you guessed cube, you are correct. Let's move on to number 3. I am a 3D solid. I have 0 faces, 0 vertices, and 0 edges. Who am I? If you guessed circle, you would be correct. That was our Monday through Thursday work. I hope that you enjoyed the lessons for this week, and I hope you enjoyed the videos as well. If you have any questions in regards to any of these, please reach out to me. Again, you can reach out to me by Class Dojo or email. Have a great weekend. Goodbye. See you on Monday.